Hi everyone, it's Margaret Manning here, and welcome to Mornings with 60 and Me. Today is Friday, it is September 23rd. So welcome to Friday. Hope you're having a great day. I would like, first of all, to say hello and welcome to all of you here. It's just great to get up every morning and do this news for you, and just know that you're there listening and communicating with each other and sharing your life with us. And this is what 60 and Me community is all about. We're not alone on this journey in our 60s, and hopefully the morning news brings you up to speed on what's going on in the world, the broader world, and also gives you some inspiration for your own life, your own personal situation. So let's get started with the news. I'm actually, by the way, drinking my cup of tea this morning. I've got, it's jasmine green tea and ginger. It's really good. And green tea, of course, is one of my favorites. And according to all reports, it's very good for you. So let me know what you're drinking and have a cup of tea or coffee. Let's get started. So in Egypt, of course, the news from yesterday was that this boat capsized trying to get from Egypt to Italy. There were 600 people crammed onto a boat that should have probably had half that amount. And before they even really left the area, the boat capsized. And only 50 people have been killed so far, but they expect that to increase. Only a couple of hundred people have been rescued. So it's really, really tragic. And it's a couple of people, I think 4, have been arrested. They're members of crew who were trafficking these people and getting paid to get them from Egypt to Italy. Now, this human trafficking has become a huge problem all over the world. And I was just reading some research on this, that it's really a complicated business. The people that are involved in the actual trafficking, the communicating and gathering the money, getting them on the boats. But there's a whole network of human trafficking that goes on, which is very sinister. And there was an author talking yesterday about a book she's written, really talking about how human trafficking started with the drug smuggling back in early 2000s, and then how it moved on when IS and Islamic State became more powerful, to kidnapping and human trafficking for money to fund their terrorist activities. And now that's kind of blended in with human trafficking, where the money is actually taxed by these terrorist groups. So they benefit financially from all of this activity, these desperate people trying to find a new life in Europe. So it's a real issue for us, and my heart goes out to these people. It's very sad. In the United States, there was a third night of protests in Charlotte, North Carolina. Not so violent as the previous nights. Things are, calming down a little bit, but the conversation is still very, very strong and just intense. In Tulsa, Oklahoma, there was some news that has probably helped to assuage the situation there, which is, as you may remember, a man was shot by a police officer, a female police officer, and she has now been charged with manslaughter. This is in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So, there's a very difficult situation that the United States police force is dealing with, and race relations are becoming more, apparent every day. But I'm just hoping that things get resolved in those two places to start with, and then we can start building on that, making it better. Now, also in the United States, if you have got a Yahoo email account, go and change the password now. They were actually hacked about 2 years ago, 2014, and hackers stole information about their subscribers. They took birth dates, passwords, bank details, and they put it up for sale on what's called the dark internet, which is a place where you can just put things that are not so visible to the rest of the internet, and transactions like this can take place. And they sold this information. So if you are a Yahoo customer and you've got a Yahoo email account, it's recommended now that you go up and change your password right away. And of course, this is it's a good idea for all email accounts you've got to change your passwords frequently, but Yahoo in particular right now. Now, in Venezuela, the opposition party there has been trying to oust the current president, Maduro, and they wanted to gather enough names to repeal him. No, impeach him. That's the word. Impeach him, and it didn't work because they have there's an electoral board that has agreed or decided that they can't do it this year. There's not enough time, so it doesn't look like that's going to happen. But there's daily anti-government protests, and it's a very volatile situation because the economy is just completely crashing there in Venezuela. People are really, really struggling. And yesterday, the transport workers all went on strike, so buses weren't working either. It's just an extremely difficult place to live at the moment in Venezuela. If we have any women in our community there, please let us know how you're doing. I know we do have a lot of people in our community in South America, so maybe there's someone in Venezuela that can bring us up to speed. Now, in Syria, of course, the situation is escalating again. Attacks on Aleppo overnight, 45 people killed. The water tower in Aleppo was destroyed. So it's just continuing the drama. But, I really don't want to report any more on Syria today, but I do want to read a letter that a little boy wrote to President Obama. He posted it on his Facebook page yesterday, or was it Twitter, but he posted it to kind of remind us of, well, both the complexity of this situation and also the hope. Now, I don't want to be a Pollyanna about this and say everything's going to be just fine. And, with the migrant situation, it's very, very complex. And I know people have mixed feelings about it, but I'll just read this little letter. And it moved me. Well, the child is 6 years old. His name is Alex, and he lives in Scarsdale, New York. And it was just the innocence of this email, of this little letter he wrote, and I just want to share it with you. It's actually my feel-good story for today. So Alex says, "Dear President Obama, remember the boy who was picked up by the ambulance in Syria? Well, could you please go get him and bring him to our house? Park in the driveway or in the street, and we'll be waiting for you guys with flags, flowers, and balloons. Catherine, my little sister, will be collecting fireflies and butterflies for him. In my school, I have a friend from Syria, Omar. I will introduce him to Omar, and we could all play together. We can invite him to birthday parties, and he can teach us a new language. Since he won't bring toys, because he doesn't have any toys, we'll share our toys with him. Catherine will share her big blue stripy bunny. I will share my bike with him and teach him how to ride. I will teach him adding and subtracting." And it just goes on. President Obama read this at the United Nations yesterday, and I just thought it was a really beautiful statement of the hope of children who are not really touched yet by cynicism and fear and judgment. And this little child, 6 years old, wrote a letter just inviting the little boy from Syria, who we saw in the ambulance, so sad, to come to his home. We'll welcome you. We'll be friends. I don't know if it's ever possible in our lifetime, but I do know one thing, and that is that these children, these 6-year-olds, are our grandchildren. I have an 8-year-old grandson, and, it's their future that is being shaped today. And it just makes me think that we as grandparents and as friends, we don't have to be the grandparent. We can just be friends of the young children, have a chance to influence them to maybe fix this in ways that we haven't been able to. So that was a really sweet letter from this little child, Alex, and I hope that inspired you. It really moved me in a positive way, even though the story is very sad. So the next thing I wanted to talk about is about you. We talked about the rest of the world and all that's going on there, but let's talk about you for a second and about something that I think is important, which is setting goals. Here it is, it's Friday. We have a weekend ahead of us. What are we going to do? What's our plan? And we always, I think about goals sometimes in a very simple way. We have a goal, we have a tactic. We decide we want this, here's how we're going to get it. And there's just one little step that we forget. So this is actually an article that we wrote on 60andMe, and I'll put the link so that you can check it out. But what basically I wanted to share is that when you're goal setting, there's actually 3 steps. The first step is to to establish a mission statement. And this is a statement about your plans, your goals that involves your values. These are the things that you believe in. These are the things that make you you, the things that you prioritize in your life. So that if you can get that first, if you can sit down and think about what are the values that are important to you in your life, then the rest is easier. Setting the actual strategy for a goal is simpler if you can just have that as your North Star. So I think that that's really important. So, the topics like, money management, networking, all these practical things were never taught to us in school. So we have to kind of build this ourselves as we go through our lives. But I think with the lens of our value system, we can make better decisions about our future and about our goals. So once we've got the mission statement or the mission goals in place, we can then start talking about specific plans and goals. And this is the easy part in a way. It's like, I really want to. I don't know. I want to live a healthier life. I want to establish healthier eating habits. Now that's really easy. You can just put a plan together. But if you think about it in terms of your values, are you vegetarian? Are you wanting to support local farmers? What are the values that build your plan for living a healthy lifestyle? What are the specific things? And I think that's, knowing how you're going to create a purpose in your life through establishing these plans is important. Now, one thing that I do every day, and maybe you do this too, is I set a plan for the day. I put three or four things that I'm trying to accomplish today, my plans for the day. And they may stretch to the week or even to the month, but it may be ongoing. But I do this every day, and it really helps me to focus. I meditate as well in the morning first thing, so that also helps me to focus. But I think writing these activities down is a good practice. And maybe someone else does this. What's your technique for getting your strategies and plans in place for each day? So once you've got your plan in place, or your strategy in place that is reflecting your values, then you can start doing the tactics. And that's a little bit easier to do. You can just then decide, well, today I'm going to go out and buy fresh vegetables from the market. I'm going to try to eat more green leafy vegetables, or I'm going to make something handmade or homemade this weekend instead of buying it from packaged. I'm going to make lentil soup with fresh tomatoes and lentils from the store. You've got some specific things you can do to tactically deal with your goals. And I think that's actually the thing that's I wanted to remind you today, is if you're out there planning for the weekend, just think about how it aligns to your bigger picture, your purpose. And then when you start the tactics, do they align to your strategies? I hope this is helpful. I think having mission values, strategy, and tactics is a really useful way to plan our days and our life. We've got a whole new opportunity in our 60s to just almost start from scratch. So there's nothing stopping you. Just go for it. Go for those dreams. Now, speaking of food, did you know that today is officially Hug a Vegetarian Day? Yes, it is. These are these crazy days that we always celebrate, that people start them for their own personal reasons and then they become a thing. But this holiday was started by PETA, which is the group called, it's the People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. It's a real group, and they're very active. They do a lot of very controversial ads to get attention to harming animals in research and testing. But they also encourage vegetarian lifestyle. And I'd like to ask you too, you can put your comments in the section below about this. Are you a vegetarian, or do you try to eat only dairy products? Are you vegan? What are your preferences for food? But if you are a vegetarian, today is your day. You get a hug. You get a hug from everyone. And, hopefully that's a lifestyle that works for you. It's actually become quite a very popular eating regime, eating lifestyle. I used to be a vegetarian, very religious when I was younger. And now I tend to just limit it to minimizing, in my situation, red meat. I tend to eat chicken or fish, but I think we find our way, don't we, in our lives, what works for us. But anyway, that's today. That's today's celebration. So that's our news and views from today, Friday, 23rd of September. I hope you enjoyed this. Please leave your comments in the section below. I love your support. It means a lot to me. And if you've got a friend you think might be interested, send them the link to 60andme.com/mornings. Tell them about our gathering every morning. I love knowing that there are so many of you out there. Thank you so much for your support. So my question for today, it's a question about values. And I'd like to ask you, what do you think are the most important values for women over 60? And maybe you can share what your personal values are as well. What do you think are the most important values for women over 60? Leave your comments in the section below. I'm looking forward to joining the conversation with you. And I am also looking forward to having you all back here tomorrow morning for Mornings with 60 and Me. Bye for now, everyone.